Hi friends, so today is going to be part two of my garden planning series. So last week I put out kind of my mindset on how I garden plan, and today is going to talk about how keeping a garden journal over the years has helped me be a better gardener, kind of things that I've learned. So if you're just starting out gardening, why don't you watch with me, and you're probably gonna be able to avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made early on. So I'm gonna take you over to the computer. We're gonna do the same format, and I'm gonna show you kind of the progression of my garden journaling and what I've learned along the way. So hey guys, welcome back to my garden journal. I'm going to be starting back at 2017, which is when I started keeping this garden journal. I'm going to share with you kind of what I was keeping track of, and then in 2018 I'll share with you what I'm keeping track of. I'm not going to give away 2019, but I will share with you some of the lessons learned from 2017 and 2018 that I'm incorporating in 2019. So in 2017, I was just tracking what I was planting, if I needed starts, how many starts did I need, the seed starting dates or direct sowing dates, and the harvest date, and I did keep notes in some instances. Now, another thing I was tracking was the maturation period. That ended up not being something that I heavily relied on or found not to be true in a lot of cases. So I didn't continue to track that in 2018. What I didn't do very well in 2017 is I didn't keep track very well of my harvest dates, and I wish I would have. What I did do well was I tracked direct sowing dates. I made notes if I needed to reseed again, or if I did a second planting like a month or two later. So that helped me know how frequently I might have a reseed issue, or kind of which varieties or types of plants I might have to watch to make sure they come up well. And it also helped me keep track of my frequency that I reseeded and if I enjoyed that process. What you'll notice I wasn't keeping track of is how many of everything else I planted. If I didn't need starts, I have no idea. I could go back to my 2017 garden plan layout and I could count this up, but it's nice just to have this in a plain view so I could see how much I planted. What are we going to move into now? 2018's plans. So 2018 was the first year that I really wanted to focus on my preservation goals. And I talked about this in the last video. I kind of looked at what does our family use, what could we use, and therefore that's what I'm going to want to grow. So then, let me scroll back over. I said, what were my focus areas and what did I want to plant? This is the first year I really focused on the numbers. How much of something was I going to plant? Whether it was transplants or seeds or bags of like potatoes or things like that. So like for example, my peas, I knew I wanted 40 square feet using the square foot calculation that gave me 256 plants. If I would have been smart at the time, I would have said, okay, how many seed packets is that? Because I did run out of pea seeds and I ran out of bean seeds. So that's something that I've improved this year is after I do my square foot calculation, I look at the back of M.I. Gardener's seed packets and I say how many seeds are in a packet, or it's the front of the seed packet, I'm not sure. And that tells me how many seed packets I need to buy. What else did I learn here? Oh, and in 2018, I also kept track of where I was planting them because I have lots of different places across the property that I can plant, whether it's the food forest, in the orchard, or in my garden, or even up by the kitchen in what I call the kitchen garden, which is really just a little back bed off the deck. And I also kept track of what varieties I planted. In a lot of cases, not in every case, but in a lot of cases I kept track of what varieties did I buy, so I knew if that was a variety that I really enjoyed and I'd like to buy again. Also, in 2019, it was the first time that I was focusing on fall rotation planning. So I was already thinking about my peas are going to wrap up, what am I going to plant there next? And I planted beans where my peas were. I did scarlet runner beans. So that's something I'm going to continue to do is plan my fall rotation crop. What I didn't track in 2017 that I wish I would have, I don't know why I didn't do it. Maybe it was just time. But I didn't keep really good comments. So I don't know I can remember and I could go back and adjust where I remember. But I didn't keep track of what did really well or what didn't do good, what issues of pests or anything like that I might have had. So in 2019, I did add the comment section back because that is really helpful. So I'm not going to show you my 2019 plan, that's a future video. But basically what I learned is by tracking or basically starting with my goals first, it gives me a good place to journal from. It gives me a good place to know what I want to plant. I backdate my schedule from there of when and where. And then I also am thinking about my fall rotation. Keeping track of my comments is good. Oh, how many seed packets? That's a big one. Because you don't want to be in the situation that you go out there and you've got this big plan to plant, and then you end up not having enough. So a couple other things that I'll share with you that you could use a garden journal for. So one of the things that I always look up when I'm planting a garden is the crop rotation circle. If you haven't seen this, it's kind of like how you should plant year after year, or crop after crop, to not take as much nutrients from the soil or put back nutrients for your future crops. So I often reference this, but I always have to look it up every single time. So I said, rather than keep looking it up, let me just throw it in my garden journal. That way I never have to look it up again and it's already there. And that's really helped me a lot. Another thing that I keep is just fun notes, like notes about lasagna layers if you're doing lasagna gardening. It's nothing that I've ever done, but it's something that I'm really interested in. And every time that sparks my interest, I have to go look it up as to what's the layers in a lasagna garden. And now I don't ever have to look it up again. It's just right here that I can reference in case in the future I ever want to try it. I kind of have my soil mixture memorized, but I should put that in here just so if my kids ever want to reference my garden journal in the future, it's there for them. And what I picture maybe in the future is saying, what are some of the success stories from my preserving goals? So like I canned spaghetti sauce last year. I loved the recipe. It's just as good as store-bought. Guys, I have no idea what recipe I used. So now I'm like, oh no. But I wish that I had just gone in my garden journal, wrote that down, and then I know. So those are just some tips, things that I've learned from using a garden journal, what I wish I would have done, what I did well, what I'll try to do better this year. So basically that's my garden journal, and it's gonna be unique for everyone. What they enjoy keeping track of and what they like, but that's mine, so I just thought I'd share it with you. So I hope that was a little bit helpful anyway. At least I got the content out there and I shared with you my lessons learned. And so if any of that helps you, that makes me happy. If it doesn't help you, oh well, then you saw a little bit more of Crazy Rachel's brain. So stay tuned because next week is the final reveal of my 2019 garden plans. And I'm going to be a week thereafter out there in the garden planting. So I hope to see you guys again on the next video. And until then, happy planting and happy gardening.